Kai Smith, also known as the hair loss advocate, the founder of the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases, where we certify beauty pros to become functional trichologists. Now tonight we're going to be having a crucial conversation for beauty professionals. We're going to be talking about hair loss, wellness, and industry success. You guys don't want to miss this. What I want to ask you to do right off is share this out with your followers, with your tribe, your beauty bestie, the person that you know might be suffering from hair loss and they need answers. They need to connect with a professional. The person that might be suffering from imbalances in their mind, maybe not a mental illness, but anxiety, some form of depression, just maybe not understanding their self-worth, whatever that might look like. We're asking you to share this out because this broadcast is going to encompass all things health and wellness from mind, body to spirit tonight. And I have some special guests that are going to be in this space. And we're going to have just an open and intimate conversation about things that really need to be spoken about, things that are still kind of taboo, things that might bring shame or embarrassment to a person, and they're trying to conceal these things. We want to bring these things to the forefront because everybody is going through something, in some way, shape, or form. And we want to break the silence on these things. So it's not just limited to hair loss. We're talking mind, body, spirit tonight, you guys. So if you've never been in this space before with BTC Live, baby, you are in for a ride. So buckle up your seatbelts because we are about to take flight. And I'm going to suggest that you put your oxygen mask on first before you try to help somebody else. You heard me. Put your oxygen mask on before you try to help somebody else. So without further ado, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to the ladies that have said yes to ID. We have Miss Iwana Locklear. Iwana has over 2 decades of experience in the beauty industry. She's actually still behind the chair. She works as a wellness coach. She works as a eating psychology coach, but she also still cares for her clients behind the chair, which I think is really, really important. So she recognized that it was time to level up. She recognized that her clients needed more. So she went to go get more so that she could be more for them and she can serve them on a deeper level. So I have her in this space tonight, and we're going to be talking about certain things around food and emotions. We're going to be talking about health and wellness as it relates to your hair health and just as it relates to your mental and spiritual health. We got Miss Delnita Smith with 3 decades of experience from Nashville, Tennessee, y'all. She is a life and relationship coach. And if you know, like I know, we need coaches like her in our space. Life and relationship. First relationship you have is the relationship with yourself, which is one of the reasons why we have a problem having a relationship outside of us, because the very first relationship that we're supposed to cultivate is with ourselves, and that is imbalanced. So I have Miss Delnita Smith in the building tonight. So we're going to get into it. We're going to be talking about some things that you don't want to miss. So that's why I'm telling you to share this live with your tribe, with your online tribe. And I just want to say hey to my YouTube peeps, because I forget that I am streaming live on YouTube. So if you are joining us on YouTube, thank you and welcome to the Kai Smith platform, where we talk about all things beauty, health, and wellness. All right. So I want to transition real quick. Get your pen, get your paper, get a snack, get your water, whatever you need to do. But come on in. Check this video out real quick before we get ready to hop into our conversation.
So why did I say yes to ID hair loss behind the chair? One, how could I not? Being a beauty professional myself, I've been able to help my clients identify things that are going on in their body so that they can get on top of them before it really wreaks havoc.
Hey, it's your life and relationship coach, Delnita Smith here. The reason I chose ID behind the chair is twofold. One, being an almost 30-year veteran in the beauty industry, I understand the importance of being equipped for each of the phases of your clients' lives because they do impact their hair, and they're depending on us as stylists to be able to accommodate or take care of their needs.
Being an eating psychology coach and a health minister, I understand, one, how to facilitate transformation, and I understand that food is medicine. So I want to bring that expertise to this space.
And so ID Behind the Chair is equipping stylists to do all of these things.
I love my peers. I love this industry.
So choosing ID Behind the Chair was a no-brainer for me, and I am grateful to be a part.
All right, you guys, buckle up because we're about to take off. So you heard it from them, what they do, why they chose, because they love their peers and they know that what we are doing in the space of ID hair loss behind the chair is much needed. ID hair loss behind the chair is a space that cares for the practitioner, because who cares for us? We're always in the trenches with our clients, sharing and caring, learning for them, but who takes care of us? So ID is a space where the stylist can take their Superwoman, Superman cape off, lay it down, put it to the side so that they can rebuild and restore what they need so that they can leave that space, go out into their communities to start lifting up and rebuilding the lives in their community, not just for healthy hair, but for increasing the longevity of these people's lives, because it's all about a person living a balanced life at the end of the day. So we're coming into this space to infuse this knowledge into our beauty community so that they can go out and affect changes in the communities where they live. So you guys, let me bring on Miss Iwana Locklear out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and Miss Delnita Smith out of Nashville, Tennessee. Hey ladies, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Doing great.
Doing amazing.
Glad
That
to
is
be
awesome.
here.
Y'all ready for this live tonight?
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's get into it. Absolutely.
Yes. So you ladies said yes to ID. And I wanted to have you in the space because I recognize the gifting that each one of you holds. And it's something different and something unique. Delnita, you have actually attended ID in the past. You are a trichologist and operate still in the space with the client behind the chair, as well as supporting people with life and relationship coaching. And with that said, you said something specific. You know that this is what's needed in this space. So can you expand on what you're currently seeing behind the chair, but also what you're currently seeing in the social media space with imbalances with people and the relationships that they're cultivating or the lack thereof? Let's get into why you're doing what you're doing outside of trichology and hairstyling.
Well, I will say the reason why is because, like I said in the video, we have to be equipped as stylists to be able to handle all the phases of our clients' lives. So some of them, we start out with them when they're, young adults and some even kids. But as they get into becoming ages where they're going through, the change where their hormones are shifting and things like that, like, we have to be able to adjust what we're doing and not run to social media or to YouTube University for a quick fix to try to cover issues with their hair. But on top of that, being able to understand and dig into why they're having the issues in the first place is like the most important thing. Because if you don't have that, then you really don't have much to work with but a quick fix, which doesn't solve the problem. And a lot of times, all the time, the problem starts internally. And internally could mean emotionally. A lot of times that's what it is. It could be with our diet. And then all of the elements that impact our health, of course, in turn impacts our hair. So that's why I feel like this is so important.
That's good. You hit on two different things. One thing is emotionally, right? And emotionally, and then so we're talking about psychologically, and then we're talking about physiologically. And so when we look at the psychological portion of things, in my experience as a trichologist, what I have learned is a lot of my clients that I support have anxiety or they have depression, and they're given a pill, a serotonin, uptake inhibitor, a reuptake inhibitor, to suppress what they're feeling, the anxiousness, the depression. And they typically will do this. The doctors will typically prescribe this because there's not enough serotonin for the reuptake process as it's supposed to happen. So they want to keep the serotonin in the blood to keep the person balanced, right? And so before they even go and check any other areas of physiology to see why a person, let me go back. They don't even know that a person doesn't necessarily have enough serotonin. They don't even address the why the person doesn't have enough serotonin, and why they are experiencing these things. They only deal with what's happening in the person's life, what threats they might feel like they may be encountering on a psychological level, maybe not physical, but maybe mental, how they perceive threats, what keeps them on edge, why are they feeling depressed? Is there something specific that is happening in your life that is actually making you feel depressed? And we know for many reasons a person can feel depressed. A person could be perimenopausal and actually have a dip in their reproductive hormones that's causing them to feel, like they're in a state of depression, right? A person could actually be having gut issues that's causing them to be in a state of depression because there's not enough serotonin there, because they have low gastric juices that's actually causing them not to be able to break down protein, which is a precursor to actually secreting serotonin. Mm-hmm. And so they're not diving deep into the background of why a person may be having these psychological imbalances, yet they're just rushing to give a person a medication. And so there are many reasons why a person could have some, traumatic experiences that they have suppressed, that have been triggered, and they don't even know that they have been triggered. That brings all of this to the forefront, yet they're suppressing the person and what they're feeling. Now they don't feel anything. So they can't really get to the root of what's happening. And they're also going to have additional issues, because if it's not just the trauma there, and there are other physiological reasons why a person might be feeling anxiety or depression, you have just silenced the very thing that is going to tell you or lead you to the problem, the underlying issue. So let's talk about the emotional things that you're actually seeing surfacing in our society, let alone behind your chair, that prompted you to take an interest in supporting people with managing their life and managing their relationships.
So for me, just understanding how the relationship with yourself is the beginning, it's the foundation of all things. And when you really take some time to sit with the traumas you've experienced, and how you've dealt with them or decided not to, and how it's impacting your mindset, how you feel about yourself, your life, your outlook on the world. Just seeing those things affect people and how they show up for themselves. And it keeps people in a state of depression because they can't function in the things that they have to do in their lives. So it just becomes difficult. And, seeing that from behind the chair and realizing that, okay, because you are depressed, it impacts the way that you care for your body. It impacts the way that you interact with your spouse or with your family, like it's impacting everything. So it runs deep.
It truly does run deep. And as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking about it impacts the way that you care for your body. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest drawback in any kind of protocol that I build in my trichology practice, the biggest drawback is that the person is not mentally up to par to be able to carry that protocol to its end, because most people don't feel like there is a connection between what's happening with their hair and what's happening with their body. So it's a foreign conversation that has to be translated, and which is one of the reasons why I have my platform for both women who are losing their hair. And it's not just limited to women. My focus, because it's my gifting and how God has wired me, is to really nurture the woman in my own private practice. But in the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases, we teach about men, women, and children. So you may hear me refer to women when I'm referring to my own private practice, but as a whole, this affects men, women, and children alike. It's not isolated to one gender or age group. And so, what I've noticed in my private practice when I'm building these protocols, they're not ready for it. They're not ready for all of the work that they have to do, which is one of the reasons why the success rate is not as great as I would like it to be, because we still have so many people in our beauty communities, hairstylists and other practitioners and things, making people believe that there's a shortcut to getting their hair to grow back. There is no shortcut to being well. There's no shortcut to being well. And I think that I can't say that loud enough, because we have so many other people making promises that this is going to happen with a quick fix. This is, well, you can just use the rosemary and put that on your scalp. You can just use the nettle leaf and put that on your scalp. Yes, you can just use that, but it's only really supporting the epidermal layer. What about the oxygen that we're trying to get through the cell to the derma papilla? Right? So there's no shortcut to that, because it takes 90 days for all of our cells to turn over in the body. It's not 90 days for each body system. Each body system has its time frame that it takes for those cells to turn over. So it's not going to be a quick fix. A minimum, you need to give a minimum of 90 days before you can really start seeing things change for you. However, it depends on how far out of balance a person's body is, if that is even a good marker, because everybody is different. But when it comes to the emotions and it comes to people really understanding that they are the reason why they're unhealthy, that's a hard pill to swallow when you tell someone it's your day-to-day behaviors, it's your day-to-day lifestyle, it's your day-to-day choices that actually are enveloped in all of this experience with hair loss, scalp maladies, high blood pressure, gastric issues, and the like. If this is on you, it's a hard pill to swallow, because they don't understand how to be in health. So they don't know that this is why they're unhealthy. So when you have to come and tell someone who is already imbalanced in their mindset, and they're in denial about where they are in their mindset and how they're really handling themselves, they're not in a good relationship with themselves. They're coming to you with thyroid issues. They're coming to you with autoimmune issues, which is pointing the finger back to the wellness of the person's mind in the first place. They have become conditioned to thinking, well, the doctor just said I have this diagnosis. Well, what the doctor failed to tell you is that the name of this diagnosis is nothing but a fancy name for inflammation as a whole. And they just compartmentalize it to whatever organ system gland is impaired, and they've called it something so that they can prescribe you another something that pharmaceutical drugs is going to approve for that specific diagnosis. It's a game. It's all inflammation, people, at the end of the day, whether you're inflamed psychologically or you're inflamed physiologically, right? So the hardest work to do is the work on self. That is the hardest work to do. So how hard do you find it in your life and relationship coaching business? How much resistance do you get, or how successful are you when you start trying to show people themselves?
Oh my goodness. That's a major one, because one of the things I have understood and have had to make my clients understand is that no matter how toxic the relationship is, when you have to sever from that thing that is toxic, because it's been a part of how you function and how you live and how you've existed for so long, it's like a mourning a death. And so really, to be able to transform your mindset, that's where it starts. Because if you can accept the fact that I need to sever the relationship with this thing, because it is a relationship. It's a relationship with food. It's a relationship with toxic people. It's a relationship with the toxic view. So once you realize that, okay, I'm going to experience the feeling of mourning, losing this relationship, but I have something better to look forward to. And so being able to give them perspective on there is hope. There is something for you to look forward to so that you can have a better quality of life. Like that is, it's a great work. And one of the things I tell people, we never really arrive to where it is we truly need or want to be or that we desire to be, because everything takes, like every phase of life takes maintaining. Like to be where you are now, you have to consistently put away the things that you know are not healthy for where you are now, so that you can prepare your mindset and your heart to be able to move into the next step of, the next level of growth for you in that area of your life. Like everything takes cultivating. And with cultivating, you have to be willing to let go of the toxic thing or you can't go any further.
Hmm. Let's talk about this real quick, and then we're gonna bring Miss Iwana on because I would need to get her 2 cents on what's happening in this space. You have to be ready to let go. You have to be willing to let go. You have to constantly remind yourself every day, every
Mhm.
moment, because the enemy is there trying to remind you in your mind of why you're
Right.
not enough for this, why you can't do this, why this is not a good idea, because he wants to continue to keep that foothold on you so that you can't get ahead. But here's the thing, self awareness is necessary,
Oh my
self
goodness.
awareness is king. And a lot of us don't recognize that we lack self awareness.
Mhm.
So, for me in my healing journey, what I have to constantly still, because you heard me say, I didn't say past tense
Mhm.
healed, I said healing, because I am still healing, right?
Mhm.
Every single day, I'm still healing. Every single day, I have to be reminded by myself through my self awareness
Mhm.
that I am worthy, that I am loved, that
Mhm.
I am valued, that I am valuable, that I am deserving. All of these things I have to remind myself all of these things every day. But at the end of the day, as the enemy is trying to constantly remind you why you shouldn't do or why you can't have,
Mhm.
we have to be, our conscious mind has to be bigger than the subconscious mind. Our conscious mind has to constantly remind the subconscious. For me, I'm talking about
Mhm.
Kai now. Kai, remember,
Mhm.
we dealt with this. Remember, we addressed this,
Yeah.
boo. Remember that. Remember, you don't need this behavior anymore. You don't need
Mhm.
this false sense of protection from the world. You don't have to respond like this anymore,
Right.
because you have God. He's going to show you what you need to protect yourself from, when you need to protect it. There's no reason to move in fear, because you
Mhm.
are capable. You have this, right? But we have to move into a space of awareness, self awareness, before we can start having those types of conversations with ourselves, right? Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. I totally agree. Which is why one of the things I do use is a disc assessment, because it shows you your behaviors. And what happens is when you see how you naturally behave and how you adjust when you're being observed, like that is such a key in self-awareness, because then you can say to yourself, okay, I know in this time I'm going to adapt to be more decisive, or in this time I'm going to be more about my environment or how stable my environment is, or I'm going to pay more attention to the details. So one of the keys is in overcoming those things is to be able to put something in place, whether it is, positive affirmations or a notebook or a recording of yourself to like you said, you need those reminders. You have to bring yourself back, like, okay, like we're not there anymore, now we're here, so let's continue to function in this space so that we can prepare for the next space. But yes, the self-awareness is so major in growth, because if you're not aware of how your actions and your mindset are impacting you, then you're not aware of how you are impacting every relationship in your life.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. You have to bring yourself back. You have to bring yourself back. And so this is why we need those accountability coaches to help us bring
Mhm.
ourselves back until we can get into the space of being accountable for ourselves. So this is real good. Iwana, I want to talk to you. I know you're listening in to everything that Delnita and I are saying. What jump in there? What are your, because I can see you like shaking your head like yeah, yeah, yeah. So I want to hear from you. What do
Yeah.
you think about all this?
I mean, ditto on all the things, right? The body is the barometer of truth, right? And it's always trying to get us to lean in and evolve, right? Like it wants us to know who we are. You know, when we talk about remembering, right? We are spiritual beings having an human experience. And we have to go on this journey of self discovery to really understand why we do what we do. A lot of times we have resistance to change because we have a secondary gain, right? A lot of time we might be fearful of failing, or we want to move into one area but we super comfortable in this area, right? So our body will show us like, no, sis, it's time for you to grow outside of this comfort zone. You haven't been given this divine potential, and it's up to you to develop it. And what I know for sure, just doing what I do, a lot of our health challenges, our eating challenges, are doorways to really helping us identify the block so that we can do something different.
Yeah, that's good. So talk to us about, because you are a licensed cosmetologist. You are still in the space of working with clients on a day-to-day basis behind the chair. And then you also do this very unique special work to help people move into the space of health and wellness through how they eat, how they think, and all of these amazing things, right? So what made
Mhm.
you decide, at what point did you recognize you needed to level up into this space? What was happening in your business? What was happening in your personal life, in your mind? What was happening?
Um, So one, of course, a personal issue, a close family member of mine went on dialysis. And so, it made me really like get upset, like, God, you didn't make us to be sick. And so, one, it up leveled my journey because this person that, went on dialysis, this could have been me. Right. And so as I up leveled my journey and seeing how me healing my body, it shifted my whole life. Right. But even behind the chair, just seeing women having high levels of breast cancer, women really losing their hair, the more that I understood the body, like I had to up level. I had to be able to educate these women, and not only as a stylist, educate myself, because I'm exposed to different products and different things as well. So as these women are going through their journey, I want to up level my game, my products, and be able to really help them still feel beautiful. A lot of them been getting their hair done since they were children. This is a part of their identity. So I want to be able to really support them, in living well and still give them the services that they desire.
That's good stuff. And this is another reason why um, I have the platform ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. I have a virtual hair loss clinic. I am certifying beautypreneurs to become functional certified trichologists, because all these things are relevant to what we're doing in this era of styling in the beauty industry. People are very mentally imbalanced. And again, I'm not talking about your schizophrenia or anything, like that, manic depression, stuff like that. I'm just saying people who look normal every single day, people who you sit around and have normal conversations with every single day, who are not even on meds or who have not been diagnosed with anything, are imbalanced due to traumatic experiences, due to limiting beliefs, just certain things, and you wonder how people are functioning, especially for me when I get the opportunity to be in a space with the person, probing them through a comprehensive consultation, and I get to start learning some of the things about a person. And these are highly functioning people, right? That have high powered positions in their jobs, yet they are deficient in their mindset, but they're running companies and so many other things. and they are very disconnected from their bodies and don't understand why their bodies are showing up for them the way that they are, through their hair. They don't even recognize that it is a body thing. They're so focused on their hair because that's the superficial thing. And as long as it's superficial, they're willing to talk to you about it until it becomes, deeper, and they got to start peeling back the layers. Then they put the pause button up on you because they're afraid to open up Pandora's box to really search within to figure out what's going on. And I've learned a lot of times people do this because they are in survival mode and they don't even recognize that they are in survival mode. They think that they're thriving. They think they're thriving because they have the degrees and the certifications and all of the things and the bank account and the white picket fence with the house and the car and the family and the social life and the deaconess board and all these other things they have. Yeah, I said deaconess board because I'm for real. When we start, moving over into the church realm, we got some imbalanced people in there too, because the church is the hospital that we go to when we're trying to heal and when we're on our faces and we need help, right? And so these are highly functioning people, even the pastor, highly functioning people that don't recognize that they have some issues that's separating them from themselves.
Yeah.
And so when we are looking at people like this and we start having these raw conversations, people shrink back because one, the enemy wants to keep you separated from your authentic self because that's how he can prevent you from actually really doing your life's work in this space, right? So with that, I've learned that people are doing this simply because they are afraid that if they open up something that they buried deep inside, because for whatever reason, out of sight, out of mind, not true, out of sight in subconscious and triggered when an occasion comes up that is familiar to the subconscious for it to have to react. And this is why you're wondering, well, this person is 50 years old. Why are they acting 5? Because you've just triggered something in them that they're unaware of that took them back to their 5-year-old self that was never healed. And they locked it away at 5 to protect themselves. So they stopped. And so people don't want to open up the can of worms or Pandora's box because now it's, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to work. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle this if I open this up. I told myself that I'm okay all this time. I've lied, and now I have to then admit that I've been lying to myself that I was okay all of this time.
Yeah,
right?
One of the things we have to learn is love all the areas, all the pieces of us. Right.
Yes.
So when we're triggered, that 5-year-old is coming up because that 5-year-old wants to be loved on, it wants to be healed. And if we're not doing this work, then it just keeps, it's like emotions. It just keeps screaming. It just keeps screaming. So we have to go on that journey of self-discovery so that we can start healing all the pieces of us.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It's all spot on.
So absolutely. So you guys, what I want you to do at this moment is share this because this is so good. And this is a much needed conversation in all communities, men, women, children of all races. This is affecting us all. Hair loss is no respecter of person, and it's happening for so many different reasons. While you're sharing, we're going to go to commercial. So don't leave us, stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Why am I committed to something you don't even have an interest in? I'm committed, you're not even interested. I'm committed to some vision of you that I have that you're not even interested in. And I'm going to expend my resources, time, energy, effort, money, joy, peace, expending my resources, committed to making you something that you're not even interested in me. And the only way we're going to free ourselves from that, no matter who the person is, even if they were the one for a season, because maybe we were supposed to start this thing together, but we ain't going to end it together. Am I committed to the vision that God gave me? Or am I committed to making you who I want you to be? Or who I need you to be because of something in me that feels empty unless I can prove that who I am is enough to change you.
Yeah, that was deep. That was a deep moment at ID when Dr. Joy spoke those words, because so many of us are trying to fit our way into relationships. We're trying to prove ourselves. We're thinking we can change people. We're exhausting so much energy because we don't want to really focus on ourselves. That it leaves us further in a deficit. And we wonder why, people like Delnita are doing life coaching, relationship coaching, because the very first relationship that needs to be cultivated is the one with self, so that you know how to interact with people outside of you. And I say it all the time, that core values, that's what helps you. That's the first contract that you have with yourself, or your core values. Your core values, that's the contract that protects you from people and people from you. People often like to use the word boundaries very loosely, saying, oh, I'm going to set a boundary, I'm going to do this. But what you really don't understand is that boundaries are not for other people. Boundaries are for yourself. You don't set boundaries for other people. You set boundaries for yourself. And you should be setting your boundaries through your core values that will then operate to protect you, from yourself first, which will then protect other people from you, and you from other people. But you don't know how many people I coach, and when I ask them the right core values, they come up with these words and they have no idea how they correlate to them personally. And it's one of the very reasons why we're so disconnected from ourselves, because we don't want to connect with us. We don't know where to begin to connect with us, which is one of the reasons why it's so difficult when building hair loss recovery strategies to get a person to connect with that strategy, because they don't want to go deep. They're afraid. They don't know what lies underneath all of that. I want to share this video. And this video is not about psychology per se, but I'm going to bring it back to the psychology of things. So I want to run this video, and then Ivana and Delnita, I want you to give me your feedback as well, what you think about this video. So let's run the video real quick. Now, put the video back up and just put it on pause, and we want to look at this center area. So we see the center area is basically a cicatricial situation. Whether it's primary or secondary cicatricial is what we need to discover. Now, let's just assume that it could possibly be from hairstyling techniques that it's been pulled out and became a secondary cicatricial. That's one issue. But if it's not a secondary cicatricial and it actually happened as a result of, the immune system actually taking action against the follicle within the dermis, we have another issue with the hairstyling technique. Now it's very creative that she can spray this, she got this technique. I mean, it's really creative. I don't have anything to say about her creativity, because that was really creative, that she said, let me fill this in, and I'm going to use the tip of my rat tail comb to, simulate the parts and so on and so forth. But what if this woman is really dealing with a primary cicatricial situation, and now you have taken this hair and you have pulled it, not recognizing that the dermis is inflamed and that the inner root sheath is being broken down. When she takes these braids out, you're going to almost have to spray the whole center of her scalp. So your creativity is not supporting the customer for the long game. What do you guys think about that?
Do you want to go first?
I agree. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Danita. I'm sorry.
No, I was telling you can go ahead and go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree, because one, we need to inform her of what's really going on, because it's just going to be a domino effect of her hair continuing to fall out, and really educating her on to go inward, to go seek help, right? Really looking into how is she taking care of herself. one of the things I know when women begin to lose hair, right, we know it's a lot with our nutrition, but our stress level, right, really looking into her life, like what's disconnecting her from her joy, her peace, and so starting to have those kind of conversations instead of just covering it up.
Yes, absolutely. Um, Delnita, what is your feedback on that?
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And like you said, Iwana, when they take that out, how is she going to function then when you realize you don't have any hair there? And then my other issue with that is if she already has inflammation there, why are you adding a product that's going to damage the scalp even further?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not helping the whole person, because you're creating a facade of having hair there or being able to still look beautiful, when you really need to work on the person, the inner person, what's going on inside with them, and then growing the hair from there and giving them a better alternative to taking care of their hair.
I believe
Yeah.
everything that you're saying is absolutely true. Um, my concern is that, does she even know how this got started?
Hmm.
What were her practices prior to this even happening to her? If this is something that is a secondary cicatricial as a result of traction because of hairstyling, maybe
Mhm.
ponytails, tight braids, weaving, whatever the situation might be. If it is that, how much more are you going to allow to happen before you actually stop these practices? Because no follicle is there. It's shiny.
Right.
It's done. It's
Mhm.
fibrosis is occurring in that area.
Mhm.
But if it's really an internal situation, and you keep spraying over this girl's hair is going to keep on, thinning. It's going to keep on coming out. Bald spot is going to get bigger, and you're just going to continue to cover it up. And we know that we have, people who are infamous for being camouflage, people in this industry, and this is
Hmm.
where this comes from. And then you project, oh, I'm making them feel good about their hair again. It's not about feeling good about your hair. It's about feeling good about your person. So I
Mhm.
can't make you have an appreciation for something that is growing from you if you don't have an appreciation for the body that you live in, the
Yeah.
shell
Right.
that you live in. And so that is the bigger concern for me, is that we want to camouflage, we want to, make people look beautiful on the outside. But as you said, and I wrote it down, Iwana, the body is the barometer of truth.
Yeah.
That was very profound. The body
Mhm.
Yeah.
is the barometer of truth. So, what truth is your body speaking about what is happening that you're trying to cover up because you don't want to address it? Let's talk about the psychology around denial.
Mhm.
I think one of the things around denial is just really people don't know who they are. Like we intellectually know, but our actions show what we really believe. Right.
Mhm.
And again, going back to who we are spirits having a human experience. Right. And so this vessel is what keeps your soul here and thriving. Right. And so instead of us being in denial and wanting to do the work, when we really understand who we are, now we can start taking inspired action to do something different, because all we did was believe a lie, right? When
Yeah.
we're clear on who we are, then we no longer believe the lie. We've been conditioned to believe a lie, right? So now when you start knowing what the truth is, then you're excited to lean in, right? You're excited to do the work and heal up those different areas of your life, right? And then you're excited to nourish yourself, because a lot of times we use sugar to numb out, right? When we're emotionally distraught, we go to food, right? When we're bored, we go to food. When we're not really walking in our life purpose, and we know deep inside of us that we are meant for more, and we know we playing small, we found ways to numb out, right? And then here we go with the inflammation.
Right.
Yeah, we constantly find ways to numb out. And I think that the biggest downplay of addiction is food.
Mhm.
We downplay the addiction of food because it's not something that we shouldn't do. We all got to eat, right?
Right.
We all got to eat, so we downplay the food addiction. We downplay the cravings, but we crave I'll speak for myself, because I always like to only speak for me. When I'm feeling healthy, I'm doing my workout, I'm doing all the things I need to be doing. I don't want to put no junk in me
Mm-hmm.
because my mind is aligned. But when I get overwhelmed, when I get busy in the office, when I got to travel back to back to back, when I'm going into ID and I'm not getting no sleep, all of this stuff makes me pick up stuff and not have time to think or to care because I'm just trying to satisfy a taste bud to get rid of the hunger, right? And I'm not consciously connected to the decisions that I'm making to support myself with eating. Right, I gotta eat. Oh, I didn't eat. Let me just grab something. Let me get some chips real quick, something just so I could get it in my stomach. Right. So when we live in a constant state of fight or flight, because I don't constantly live in fight or flight. I dip in and I dip out, depending on the demand that is placed upon me with my business. And I know when I'm going into a fight or flight because I know what my schedule is looking like. When I got ID is a really big fight or flight for me because I got so many different moving parts. I got, a lot of responsibilities leading up to it. And then I'm barely getting rest because I'm serving. But that is an acute situation. It's not chronic. I don't live like that every day. I give my chance the opportunity to reset because I'm in a space now where I say, I need to honor myself.
Right.
I'm going to honor myself. I might be, this might need to be done. I got to honor myself and I'm going to go ahead and take care of me. I'll have to get this done afterwards. Right. And so getting a person to that space is difficult. And most times when people get to that space, they get to that space because they've been threatened with something. Their life has been threatened. Their hair has been threatened. Something has been threatened, or they lost a loved one, or like Ivana said before, someone really close to her, this happened to them and it was a joke for her. Some people aren't the person that this got to happen to me first before I believe it. Some people can learn from other people's experiences very well and say, that happened to such and such. Let me do X, Y, and Z because I don't want that to happen, to me. And so if each one of you, before we get ready to go to this commercial break, can you run down, and especially Delnita, because up close and personal what the experience is at ID. Can you guys just share out of everything we're talking about tonight and everything that you're bringing to the space with your genius? Why do our peers need to be at ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair June 1st individually?
Oh my goodness, for so many reasons. For one, because we have to be in the space where we can become self-aware, where we can also learn how to cultivate a better relationship with who we are so that we can show up better in the space for our clients, but then also at home in our personal lives. How can we show up better in our marriages, in our relationships with our children? Because all of that impacts how we then go to work. So, and then the other reason is because as a stylist, we don't come into this career understanding the value of building your business, of preparing for retirement, of building a brand, and all of those things that they will be learning at ID. So this is a space for growth. This is a space for growth.
Ivana?
Yeah, 100%. Just being on your own journey of self-love and doing your own inner healing and removing your own blocks, that is going to help you really help your client and facilitate. Because a lot of times people come into our lives, they're mirrors, they're reflection of us, right? So a lot of times we can learn, from the people that are coming in our path, so we can look at ourselves and we can elevate. But again, as we start loving ourselves, we're going through our own healing journey, then we can better impact and help our clients in their journey. Because it's one thing just to tell them what to do, right? But we want transformation. We want them to have inspired action.
Inspired action. So that means action says that you got to move, that you got to implement, because so many times we go to these types of conferences and we absorb, we're hoarders of information, but we're not implementers of information, and we become stagnant and we know what to do, but we're not taking action. And there is a title for that also. And so with that said, coming into the space of ID, strengthening your client relationships, that's all a part of strengthening your own relationship and increasing self-awareness for you. We're teaching you that inside of ID hair loss behind the chair. Because again, who cares for the practitioner? I care for you. I care for you because I understand what it takes to be on the front line doing what we do. I understand how we lack nurture. I understand how we keep our superwoman capes on, our superman capes on every single day, and we're pouring out of an empty cup and we don't even know it. This is why we get burnout. This is why we're frustrated. This is why we feel like we've lost our passion for the industry. This is why we need a break. This is why we want to retire from the industry and go do something else. All of these things are reasons why we need to understand how to cultivate a relationship with ourselves to then enhance the relationships that we have with our clients, right? So we're just speaking about the psychological pieces, and then also understanding your clients' behaviors, your own behaviors for that matter. Speaking about how food correlates with behaviors and being able to understand or interpret without saying a word, without even communicating, you can visually see the patterns of your clients, especially when you can identify the patterns of yourself. I promise you, but for a lot of the clients that I work with, I see some of my old brokenness in my clients, which is why I can identify what is happening with them so well, right? Just because I've healed does not mean that I don't still have to deal with it. It means that because I've dealt with that situation and I've healed from it, it doesn't mean that it's evaporated, it's gone away. It means that I understand how to respond to that thing when it triggers and rises up in me, which is why I need that self-awareness to say how you're capable, how you don't know. Remember, we moved on from that. You don't have anything to protect. You don't have to respond like that. You got to know how to bring yourself back to center when you get triggered. That's what being healed in that space is all about, right? So having your clients to really mirror you, that's what your work is all about. You taking your experiences and mending your broken edges and being able to then go and facilitate someone else's change, someone else's healing as a result of the work that you've done. And that is what ID hair loss is all about. Me taking my pain, developing into a purpose, and then bringing other people alongside me who have also been doing the same work within themselves to bring their genius so that we can help this beauty community as a whole to grow, to flourish, and to impact the lives of the people that we touch every single day, that we love, and some that we don't even know yet, right? So we get ready to go to another commercial really quick, and we'll be right back.
Hair loss had been going on in my family, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't made it to the point like, that's it. I don't know what else. And not understanding that physiological map. Mm-hmm. This has been, growth. And I like the fact that you're fierce and you don't waver, and you're just, like you say, black or white, there's no gray. And I like that. And you just be stretching. I'm like, man, that road band is going to come back. It's going but it comes back, though. Yeah, it comes back. It comes back. You have given so much. Like, no, you just don't know. This is good. Man, yes. And I like the fact that you don't allow everybody in. I just feel like I'm just exclusive. Like, because you are. Man, yeah. Right. Yeah. And I'm glad you're obedient. You follow the spirit. If he say go, you go. If he say stop, you stop. And I like that. And you make everybody feel important. It's like Mama Kata. So I really appreciate you.
And I appreciate you too, because you trust me enough to open up to allow the work that God has for me to do, for that work to take root in you. So we're partners, because I can't do it without you. I gotta have people to transform, so thank you.
Y'all have no idea what happens in this space. Something different happens every single time in ID. Like, God don't even share with me what's going to happen. I'm just open. I'm a vessel to be used. We have our curriculum, we have our agenda, and what happens in that space in between the time that we are giving out everything that we've promised you and what you paid for, those are the reasons why. That's the real reason why you come for that transformation. And I know that there are many people that are under the sound of my voice, listening in live, listening on the replay. You're waiting for your transformation. You're waiting for your next. You need to stand up. You need to stand up and be courageous to say, I am ready for my next. And I want that to take place through ID hair loss behind the chair. We have some phenomenal educators in the space. We have Delnita Smith. She's going to be speaking to you about life coaching, and all the things around how you're moving and navigating life as you are experiencing success. We're going to have Miss Iwana Locklear there. She is going to be talking to you about the psychology of food. That is going to be an amazing presentation. You're going to have Jessica Davis in the building talking to you about trichology from a space of the naturalista with locks and all the different techniques within the lock family, the terrain of the scalp. You're going to have Dania Durden there, who's going to be talking to you about certification with our scalp microbiome line and all of the different types of bacteria that are on the scalp, and not just your ordinary detoxification, but understanding the science of the skin and its microbiome so that you know exactly what you're doing and not affecting change in the acid mantle that will cause a negative response. You'll have Mr. Chris Bond on the branding end. You'll have Micheline Barber in the space, motivating and empowering, inspiring millions in our beauty industry. Of course, you're going to have I shouldn't say Miss, Dr. Joy Madison in the building again. She will be speaking on the somatic nervous system and all the traumas that occur there that have you working against yourself so that you can come back to center. You will have yours truly facilitating the whole trichological experience. You will have Marche Mayfield on the money management side, showing you how, as you continue to grow your money, how to manage your money. So there is so much taking place in that space that you need to invest in yourself through ID hair loss behind the chair. We're going to be getting ready to end this live, but before we end this live, I want to bring Delnita and Iwana back into the space, because I want you ladies to close us out with your last, words and committing to ID hair loss behind the chair. And I just want to publicly tell you guys, thank you for your commitment to supporting me and what I'm doing in the beauty industry and bringing your unique gifting into the space. I cannot wait to connect with you ladies in person. So just any last comments that you want to leave our viewers with tonight?
Absolutely.
So I'll share. Oh, okay. So one of the things is just really helping, our peers to be intentional and have intentional practices to embrace their unique body design and revitalize their own health. Right? When we're on our own healthy journey, when we're taking care of ourselves, we're up leveling mind, body, and spirit because they're connected, right? We're letting our light shine, and we can't do anything but impact change, right? Not only do we want to help our clients, but we are being the light that we want to see, and we are healing on a collective. We're all interconnected. So it's super important that we're all doing our part to shift the atmosphere on the planet. So
Absolutely. That's good.
That's awesome. Awesome. I agree. That's so true. So I chose ID because like I said, it was a no-brainer for me because of all that every person that's able to attend will be leaving with. And so in my space, I will be talking about guarding your progress and how important that is because like I said, we can be information hoarders, excuse me. We can be information hoarders, but understanding the value of what you will be getting, and understanding your own behaviors, and being self-aware in the space of being able to guard what you've learned, so that you can walk away with it and understand how to implement it, and not allow the enemy or the inner me to take what you have gained.
Mhm. That's good stuff. That's real good stuff. So you guys are in for a treat. It is over 60 hours of education in 5 days, y'all. We start at 6 a.m. and a few nights we didn't end until after 8 p.m. So I promise you, no stone is left unturned. So I want you to dive into health and wellness with ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair and strengthen your client relationships. We're going to unlock not just natural hair with trichology, but we're going to unlock all hair with trichology, because trichology is transformative. So I want to teach you how to leverage the power of trichology to support yourself first, and then your client second, with being healthy, increasing longevity, because we were put here for a reason. We weren't put here to be ill. We were put here to do God's work, and we can't do God's work when we're ill. It's time out for only caring about what our hair looks like. Our hair is a barometer of what is happening in our body. It is not the hair, it is the body. And once we understand that it is not the hair and that it is the body, we can take a different approach to supporting our clients with recovery. And so you will learn all of the holistic approaches to recovery at ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. You will leave there as a hair loss first responder in the space of trichology. Will you be a certified trichologist? No. But you will be a hair loss first responder. You will understand how to have an informed conversation with your client about what is happening with them. Your lenses will change. Your ear will change. You will hear the conversations from your client differently, because you will hear them as symptoms, and you will know how to interpret what they're saying and what the body is really speaking when it has symptoms. Your lenses will shift, because you will understand how to use the trichoscope. You will understand what's happening on the landscape of the scalp, so that you can then have a conversation with them about their prognosis with hair loss and how they need to move forward, not just with topical things at your back bar or at your salon station, but how they need to move forward with increasing their health and wellness as a result of what you're seeing on their scalp and what you're hearing them discuss with you. So join us June 1st through the 5th for ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. We are on a 2-pay plan right now. We're on a 2-pay plan right now, and we're those payments are about 30 days apart. So you can make 2 payments 30 days apart. Don't miss out on it. Don't miss out on your opportunity to grow. Don't miss out on your opportunity to be more for yourself first, and then show up, so that you can nurture and foster deeper relationships with your clients, to be the solution for a problem that they have not been able to resolve in their doctor's office. It's time to stand up. We got to stop referring our clients out when these are things that we can actually do in our chair to support them with increasing their hair health and wellness. All right, you guys. So we're getting ready to sign off tonight. We appreciate you for being with us. We will come live again next Tuesday with more. One of my tribe members, Miss Meta, she said it is Transformation Tuesday, right? So we're going to start calling it Transformation Tuesday on these lives with BTC Domination, right? So I will see you guys next Tuesday. Iwana and Delnita, thank you so much for joining me and saying yes. I can't wait to see you ladies in June. And you guys, be good to yourselves, and I will see you next Tuesday. And comment on my social media platform for those of you who have been dialoguing with me. I appreciate that as well. Good night.
Good night.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay, Houston, fuel cell 1, fuel cell 3.
We're created equally, but we respond differently.